is in the house, out of the house, everywhere. One of the hardest things, I think, going through the grief process is the reminders of them all over the place, everywhere. It can be such a good thing, it can be such a wonderfully beautiful thing, and yet it can be such a difficult thing. No one talks about it very much because it's just something you have to deal with. It's a quiet thing you deal with every day. But I just found it insurmountable. I think there's barely a day that goes past that his name doesn't pop up. But this is my husband who has died. His name doesn't pop up on the internet, or I get some email, or I get a letter with his name on it, or I thought I'd cleaned that all out and tidied it up maybe a year ago, but then I find more things. You'll find the same thing. It comes up all the time. And if you are upset already, I found it really upsetting. There were times when I didn't go and do the letterbox for a couple of days because I just didn't want to read another envelope from some random place with his name on it, or deal with things just on that day. I was already struggling. So don't feel bad if you feel like that sometimes. You're not wanting to be with them. It's just that you miss them so much, and it's so painful that it just makes your day worse. I would also deal with things sometimes after dinner. Things I had to deal with that had to do with him, I would do that. And you will be reminded too in a public place. For example, you'll go shopping, or you'll be at the coffee shop, or you'll be out and you'll bump into people who either knew him, so we start talking about it, or don't know that he died. Now that one's very difficult. I've had lots of those, the bump-ins. I remember I was standing in the supermarket queue. It was only just a few months ago, and I could see the two people at the end of the queue waiting for me, and I knew I had to tell them because it was very unusual for me to be here shopping without Ray. And I was hoping that they would just leave, but they were smiling at me, and I was thinking, well, I'll tell you what I was actually thinking. And I just did my shopping, paid the lady, took a deep breath and walked up there. And then, of course, they ask you how you are, and you go, I'm okay. And they look at you, and then it starts. And then in the end, you're consoling them, trying to make them feel better. I had many of these occasions because Ray was quite well known around this area because he played sport. It will catch you unawares, actually. And if you're having a day where you actually don't want to meet anybody because you're a bit upset and you've just managed to run out to get the milk or some bread, you will find it very difficult. I had one morning, I had two in one morning, and I came home and I was like, I'm just staying home for the rest of the day. So the reminders can be very positive reminders and bring happiness and a big smile to your face. But the reminders can also be of the death and the passing, and they probably are the more difficult ones. I avoided things, especially in the first 6 months, did not drive past the place where he actually died. Unfortunately, another place when he was sick, my bus goes past, so I just looked the other way. It's not ignoring it, it's not avoidance in a bad way, it's just shielding. It's just keeping yourself a little protected for a while. What you do with all the bits and pieces is really up to you that are left behind. I kept many in one box as we would call an heirloom because I have sons and grandchildren, and I didn't want to let those go. With some special people in his life, I actually gave some of the things that he owned to them, his baseball cap, and he used to make wooden bowls, so I gave those to different people, and various other things, and I gave some things to my sons. I think don't make any quick judgment. Don't throw everything out in the haste to move on, because you might regret that. It's best to put it in the box and put it in the shed. Just keep it for a while. You're not in your right state of mind probably anyhow, and what a decision you might make at 3 months will maybe not be the decision you make at 18 months, like where I am now. So hold off a little bit. If you need help with sorting through the clothes or doing things in the shed, clearing out stuff, enlist somebody. I did most of it on my own, basically because my family. Most of my family are in another state. But also, for me, it was a little bit easier in a weird way because I just cried and lost it quite a lot and just cried some more and just accepted I was going to be upset and just did that. Some of the parts I just did that to get it over and done with. You can maybe, for some people who are good with this, they make like a little, like the altar's kind of the wrong word, but like a little place where their photo is, and they put things around the memento, and that brings great joy to them. However, I haven't done that because it just made me want to cry. So if I looked at his face in the photo, I just cried. So I'm not really there yet. I will be perhaps in time, who knows, but don't feel bad if you can't handle it. It's not like you're pushing them out. It's perhaps more that it's just too heartbreaking, really. It just breaks your heart. You have to do it the way that works for you. Don't listen to other people, even family. Remember that this is your relationship with that person you've lost. So do it in the way that's meaningful for you. Perhaps throwing out the yellow T-shirt seems like a good idea from your son's point of view, but you don't want to because it's got memories, or that your son might want to keep something that you probably didn't think was so significant. Everyone will find different things are significant. When you go through all the things and have all the reminders around you, it brings you closer to them in a sense, but it also makes you feel more upset, I think. That's what I think. It does make you feel more upset. If you're having a difficult week, perhaps that's not the week to do that. I tend to just shelve things until I wake up one morning and feel I'm strong enough to do it. And you will. You will. We gradually come out of this. Even I'm better than I was before. But I still don't push it. So just remember that the physical manifestations around you are going to trigger you, and they will remind you of lots of things. It will also catch you unawares sometimes, and therefore you'll find you'll be doing quite well and then find something, and then the rest of the day will be fairly bad and you might cry yourself to sleep. But just know that's okay too. The physical part was what you had and is actually now what you don't have. So I'm not sure whether these physical reminders also don't remind us on a deeper level they're not here. So you only have what's left over, not the actual person, and that in itself is dreadfully sad. I took my time. My shed's still full of stuff. I still have an old car of his sitting in the shed, and I'm not quite ready to deal with it, so I'm leaving it. At the end of the day, it won't make any difference, but for me it will, because I'll do it when I'm actually ready to do that part. Everyone is very different. Some people want to clear everything. Some people want to hoard everything. And some people like me are probably a little bit in the middle. Eventually, we do tend to clear things. I have a friend who's up to 4 years now being widowed, and she's still doing a few bits and pieces, but most of it she's done bit by bit. And she also advised me to just take it slowly and do it as I could. There's a kind of push in yourself to want to get it all over and done with because it's painful to do. And you can do it that way, but you've also got to consider that you're actually in a very bad space emotionally and a bit unbalanced possibly. So you also need to make sure you don't actually trip yourself up. Do it when you can. Let go of the things you can. Keep the things you want to keep. It doesn't matter what other people think or how long it takes you. This is your journey, and you've got to do it and honour them in the way that you want. I know this part is hard, the reminders. They are unpredictable too. Meeting people, things turning up, letters, emails, all these things we have no control over. It's almost like they come to us, or toward us. So try and maintain some kind of, not control, but when I say that I mean do it when you're ready for the things that you can have any kind of power over, whether you clean the shed today or not, and then deal with things as they come up. On those days when I have met people, like I've had that quite a lot actually, or got all those unexpected letters or emails, even though you have told the places 3 or 4 times, please do not send it, my husband has died. I've done all that, and they keep coming because of the computerization of the world. I'm usually very kind to myself after that for the rest of the day. It does upset you, and you might put on a brave front, but it does upset you. So for the rest of that time, just be really nice to yourself and do something you enjoy. I hope your day is good. I hope you don't have too many pop-ups this week, like of reminders that upset you. But I do feel after a while it does get less, just because the time passes and we keep clearing things, more people get to know. You might also have the urge, like I did a few weeks ago, and I actually contacted some people on our outer circle we hadn't seen for quite a while, but we'd had a history with them, and as a respect to them, and also I suppose to honour what's happened in my life with Ray, I emailed them, and then I had to deal with them again. Remember, you're already dealing with your own grief, so only do that when you can deal with their grief and devastation, which I landed up having to deal with. But that was okay, because I felt in quite a strong place to do that, and my urge to tell them was actually quite strong. So it kind of worked out for me in a good way. I wish you well again. I hope you get better at this and get stronger, and I know that in time that we will heal. Maybe not completely, but we will heal enough to find happiness in this world. Love to you.